Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Whether you're live or listening to the replay, I'm so glad that you're here. Guess why? Because we are all in this together. We are in the most transformational, transitional, turbulent, in many ways, unusual, unpredictable times of all history, and we're in it together. And it's imperative that each of us understand what's happening and what our role is. So today, I was meditating, doing my own meditation and a dialoguing process that I do, which gives me tremendous depth and perception that I can't have when I simply rely on my left brain. So what came up from that dialogue, I really want to share with you in today's live stream. So the first bit of this will be me talking, sharing some, teaching, sharing some teachings, sharing some information that I hope will be inspiring and illuminating. And then the second part is going to be actually a meditation. So I think I'm going to turn the camera off for that when we start that. And I hope that you will give yourself the space also to clear your environment, to center in yourself, and to allow yourself to be with the meditation. Because when I do meditations, it's not just a guided visualization. I mean, those are great, but it's something deeper than that. Because we are connecting to the blueprint for creation. We're connecting to the divine plan. And so what we lean into in these live streams and all my work and in everything that we do, if we choose to be aligned, whether it's here or anywhere in your life, in your world, what we are connecting to is co-creating the divine plan through our own lives in many ways, through our own lives in many ways. So we'll talk about that. Okay, so the topic of today, starting with why are things looking so bad in the world? And I want to just talk just a little bit about the concept that Kabbalah calls klipa. The word is spelled K-L-I-P-A-H in English, K-L-I-P-A-H, klipa. Klipa literally means a shell. You might have heard me say this one or more times before, but it's important to keep looking at these concepts in a deeper way. Look deeper, look deeper, look deeper. I cannot overemphasize that. We need to look deeper all the time in everything, deeper into yourself, deeper into others, deeper into, what's happening in the world, deeper into the Torah, deeper into the inner potential of everything. So klipa, a shell, the idea of it is it's a kind of spiritual impurity. There are 4 levels of klipa. 1 of them can be worked with, 3 of them can only be pushed away. Certain things, if we start up with them, if we mix ourselves into them, it will pull us down instead of us pulling it up. But for in today's context, I just wanted to define klipa as an outer covering, like the shell. More like there's shell. There's a klipa as a peel. So you have the kind of klipa on a fruit that's edible. That would be like the transformational, the klipa that's possible to transform. Then there's the klipa like on a banana, which is soft and you can cut through it, but it's not edible. And then there's the kind of klipa like on a nut, like a shell. And that is really, really hard, and you need to break it with great force or it won't open at all. And that is the kind of klipa that we are seeing today. That's the kind of klipa that seems to be running, pushing, influencing, manipulating, brainwashing, if I can use that word, most of the humans on the face of Earth, on the face of the planet today. And it's not by accident. And it's not only that it's not by accident that it's happening from those who are generating it, but it's not by accident because it's part of the divine plan. Now, I don't have the sources in front of me, but I will try to look for those. But I learned years ago that it was in the name of the Vilna Gaon, so I need to find the source myself to say with absolute certainty, but that Israel's development would start in a very secular way, even a leftist way, not in a divine redemption way. Ultimately, Israel is the heart of the world. It's the spiritual portal between heaven and earth, and it's going to be a receiver, like a radio antenna to receive divine light, divine power, divine blessings that will then spread from there into the entire world. So Israel's destiny is everybody's destiny, and I wish people would see that. If people would see that, they would stop, stop with the hate, stop with the politics, both inside of Israel and outside of Israel. In any case, what happens in Israel is crucial to the world, like what happens in your heart is crucial to your entire body. There's just no way around it. But the development of Israel, there was a almost 2,000 year exile. There were many exiles in Jewish history. After the exile in Egypt, the Jews were redeemed by Moses, by God directly through Moses, who was sent as the messianic figure, the Redeemer. This is a prototype for what's happening now. It's a prototype for all redemptions and all exiles. And then the Jews were wandering in the desert for 40 years. 40 is the number of transformation. 40 is the number, just for those of you who like Kabbalah, 40 is the 40 saw. There are 40 measurements of water in a mikveh, in a ritual bath, which transforms anyone or anything from a state of ritual impurity to a state of ritual purity. So 40 is a number that encompasses and purifies. So the 40 years in the desert, that was an encompassing experience where, there was direct divinity and direct moment-to-moment leadership. The manna from heaven, the man coming down miraculously, always the right amount, never too much, never too little. The clouds cleaning the people's clothes. They never had to wash their clothes. Moses speaking directly to God and leading the people step by step. They didn't have to know where they were going because they were wandering. They were wandering the desert. So what was the whole thing about in that 40-year period, and that number 40? There are other uses, there are other applications to 40, but for now, that was a training period that was designed to allow the imprint onto the collective psyche of the souls of Israel, the receivers of the Torah. It was an imprint of making God real, that God is real, that wherever you go, I'm saying this to you and to me, wherever you go, whatever you experience there, even your internal reactions, whatever circumstances you have, whatever resources you have, whatever encounters you have, whatever challenges you have, it's part of your 40-year experience of wandering in the desert. I don't mean in this case literally 40 years, but the purpose of everything ultimately is to transform darkness into light. But the purpose of this idea of 40 is for us to be able to imprint something new on ourselves, to let go of the old and to acquire the new. It's transformation. It's a transformational number, meaning a movement from one state of being to a completely different state of being. Ritual impurity, ritual purity. So Israel was established, and it was predicted that it would be reestablished. Of course, Israel, after the wandering in the desert, the Jews entered the promised land, and they had a few hundred years there, and things went south because the imprint wasn't deep enough, because the learning wasn't embedded enough, because we're still wanderers. We're wanderers until we're ready to come home. That means everybody. That's not just about the Jewish people. We are wanderers. Think about the word home. And what does it resonate? How does it resonate for you? Like, do you feel like you're truly home? So we have a true home, and it's on this earth, but it's not the way the earth looks right now. But we're in that resonance of 40. We're in this time of turbulence where things are shifting from a former state of being to a past state of being to a future state of being, from a broken state of being, which is breaking more on the surface, like the shell cracks. I keep using these metaphors because they are real. To let the chicken emerge into a big world so that it keeps breaking more and more in order that we can reestablish a new zone of living where we are home, Right now, we're all in exile. We're not home. Exile is galus in Hebrew. Redemption is geula. Redemption is home. So that's basically the paradigm. And Israel restarted when after the first temple was destroyed by the Babylonians, and there was the Babylonian exile, which lasted for 70 years. And then only some of the people returned to the land of Israel. The second temple was ultimately built, it was bigger in size. It lasted a little bit longer, but there was less holiness there because it was built more from the bottom up, from the human side. And then the Romans destroyed that. There were rivers of blood flowing through Jerusalem. I think I might have past life memories of that, I'm not sure. And then began the Roman exile. The Roman exile is over 1900 years, it's almost 2000 years now. And now at the end of the Roman exile, there is this reestablishment of Israel, but it's reestablished in a way that it is surrounded by a shell. Klipa, that's why I brought in this word. It's surrounded by a shell of impurity. What do I mean by impurity? I mean, it's not being run by godly values, let's put it that way. Not that the people aren't, so many are so godly, amazing things. Not that the energy there is not God revealing himself, because it is, without a doubt. Israel's the land of miracles. Israel's the land of, in a little over 70 years, from swamps and malaria comes fruit that is being exported to every corner of the world. Juicy, big, beautiful, colored, amazing people, high tech, that's being exported everywhere in the world. A flourishing spiritual center, more and more and more every day. Just an explosion of goodness and divinity, but it's surrounded by a klipa. It's still surrounded by a shell. And that shell, just to name a few things, it takes that high tech, all those innovations, for example, a cure for, the corona, recently was discovered by a doctor in Israel. I think that, if I recall correctly, he had 40 patients in the hospital at the time, and it was a spray in the mouth or nose, I don't remember, and he sprayed it, and 39 of them got well, I think, almost immediately, and the 40th one, it took longer. At least that's my memory of reading this. If I have one of the numbers wrong, forgive me, but it was miraculous. And it's not the only miraculous thing that comes out of Israel. There are so many miraculous things, and out of other places as well. However, that technology is not being used in Israel. Like people talk, I was just in Hippocrates Health Institute for several weeks, as you may know. And the director there is like speaking with reverence about the discoveries made in Israel and Hebrew University and the Technion and other places in Israel. And he's right. It's Hachi, it's the capital of innovation in many ways. This small little country, which is a melting pot of people from all over the world who were exiled and now are coming, in a sense, to home, but it's not really home yet. But in any case, it is a center of innovation, but that innovation is not being provided for the people who live in Israel. How come? How come? How come we're in a state of perpetual war? When, the world gets so mad, I hope this doesn't get censored. The world gets so mad because, Israel is so strong. Miraculous. These were refugees from the Holocaust who came back, to the swamps and malaria. How is it such a strong army, such a strong God? It's God. God is doing it. The miracles, like I said, the land of miracles, unbelievable what's happening. And yet, with all this strength, the fire doesn't get put out. The fire of terrorism, the fire of, the contested borders, it doesn't get put out. It's being fanned. And it's not just being fanned by the people from outside. And maybe some people won't like it that I'm saying this. It's being fanned by certain factions from the inside. And why is that? And I'm not going to attempt to answer it in any political way. You can come to your own conclusions. Although I will say that, and this brings me to my next point, people all over the world are being distracted and demoralized in the most intense ways, also not by accident. So one of the things, the reason that I'm going to be doing a meditation, it's not so many, but I'm going to be doing a meditation very shortly here with you, is because I want to help. I want to help all of us, including myself, get a little more centered, come back to our roots, of rooting in the bedrock, so that we're not such easy targets. So it's not so easy to distract us with the latest crisis du jour, or the latest scandal du jour, the threat, weaponized fear. We shouldn't be such sitting ducks. We should not. So I want to help with that. And all my live streams, or at least most of them over the next while, are going to be aimed at that. But in this case, we'll be doing a meditation very soon. But the point is that all of the crisis in Israel, which just keeps flaring up. When I'm in Florida now, so I'm not there physically. Two of my daughters are. A lot of people don't believe it even. Like somebody who's a friend of mine who lives in Jerusalem, who's very, very not into conspiracy talk at all, said this didn't happen by accident. Everybody was getting along. Like a lot of the cities, the city of Lod, which is one of this main city where there were riots and lynchings and mobs and whatever, there was a a movement toward a long-term movement toward a lot of cooperation between different cultures, different people, and it was going well. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and I've seen it happen so many times, but this one was the most overt. War, out of nowhere. How come? I'm just going to keep doing that. How come? How come? So now I want to say, and this is part of the plan. Israel was, the sources tell us, some sources tell us that Israel was intended to be, just the return to Israel was intended to start inside of this shell as a growth, like the baby grows in the womb, the chicken grows in the egg, the caterpillar grows in a tight cocoon. Yes, it constricts the embryos, the babies, but it protects them also. So Israel needs to rise to its destiny, and it will rise to its destiny. And it is in the process of rising to its destiny, but within the shell, where it's constricted and protected, where it's learning its lessons, where its growth is very, very almost tightly controlled, guided, let's say. And that's really what's happening. And there is an Israel in everyone's heart, and this applies to everyone, both because Israel is the heart of the world, the heart of the universe, and whatever happens there happens everywhere, affects the entire thing. Like I said, Israel's the portal between heaven and earth, that holy land, especially the temple and the Temple Mount, which is so contested. I've said it before, I'll say it again. People have to know this. If Jews go up onto the Temple Mount, only Jews. This doesn't apply to any other religion. If Jews go up onto the Temple Mount and move their mouths in prayer, they get arrested by the Israeli police. Why is that? What's that about? So again, I want to bring our focus to the fact that there is a spiritual war going on. We're in a spiritual war. It's the final war. In many ways, although it takes place in the political arena, in the financial arena, in the technological arena, in the medical arena, in the communications and the media, big time, fundamentally at its core, it is a spiritual war. And that's a good thing, because when there is a destined spiritual war, and it's the final war in this transition, in this birth process between the past, history, and destiny, between a broken world and a healed divine world, each one of us gets to play a part. And that's what our meditation is going to be about. We're going to be focusing on awakening and activating that in each of us. So this, I want to just mention again, in this war, like I put a tremendous amount of focus on what was happening in American politics over the past several years, because I'll tell you why. And not everybody may agree with me, and that's okay. Here we have a zone, I hope, and it's part of redemption, where we can disagree on certain things, and yet we can still love each other, and we can still learn from each other. And that's, if you're not cool with that, then probably you shouldn't listen to me. If you are, then you're helping to build a messianic reality on your own as part of our collective. That's what this is about. That's what all of my work is about. That's what all of these times are about. So basically, I followed American politics intensively for the last several years because I saw new things happening. I saw signs of redemption. I saw the American embassy being moved to Jerusalem after 20 years of talk about it and never happening. And you know what? I was looking out my window when they did the inauguration ceremony, because I lived in the center of Jerusalem at that time, overlooking the Knesset and overlooking the area where the embassy was put up, which was the site of the former consulate, where I had been to get my American passport renewed a couple years ago. So I was expecting, like many were, that there would be riots and uproar and tension. The exact opposite happened. From that moment of the inauguration, things became so quiet. Things became so much more peaceful. And that basic trend mostly lasted until now. So peace doesn't serve the shell. Peace serves the fruit. If there isn't peace, it's designed to bring out a growth surge in the fruit, or maybe it's designed to cause the fruit, which is our true selves in this context, to break through that shell. And that may well be where we're up to right now. We can talk about that. We can explore that. But there is a reason why politics are moving toward Israel. There is always a reason why Israel is central in the news. There is a reason why there has been an upsurge in love for Israel at the time when the embassy was being moved and the Golan Heights was being recognized as part of Israel and peace was being made with the countries around Israel. What a genius thing to do, to normalize relations with people so that peace in the Middle East is not dependent upon making peace with terrorists. It's just, and I'm not talking about everybody being able to live in peace and everybody having the right to a good life. That is not in question at all. All good people want that. Governments foster turbulence, distraction, and demoralization, continuous crisis, and then they offer solutions that aren't usually in humanity's best interest. I'll say that again. If you're still hanging on and you're still listening to me, you probably agree with me, you probably think like this already, but governments foster crises, turbulence, distractions, and demoralization in order to provide solutions to get people really upset and not knowing what to do, in order to provide solutions that are not in our best interest, but are in theirs. When I say government, I mean corporations, I mean, whoever benefits. Who benefits? Whoever is behind it. So that's the bad news in a way. Remember that underlying all of this, we are in a growth process. So nothing is allowed to happen. This is a core principle of Torah and Kabbalah. You must take this in. Nothing is allowed to happen without God's allowing it to happen. When it's not time for something to happen, like the slavery in Egypt was horrible. Why did it happen? That's a topic of another conversation. Why do things have to be hard? Why do things have to be hard in life? Why when you want to build muscles, do you have to go make yourself exhausted? Why when you want to get, thinner or fatter, you have to change your diet? Why when you want to build a business, you have to work hard and you have to work on yourself to get the old habits out of the way, to get the limiting beliefs out of the way? Why when you want to create a great relationship, you have to work on yourself, you have to pummel your ego sometimes? Because that's the nature of the beast, because we're here to transform darkness into light. But I don't want to spin off on that either. Okay, so the point here is that even though all of these things are happening, we need, on the political arena, like I said, in the financial, in the medical, in the communication, it's a spiritual war. And in a spiritual war, we have to know that God directs the footsteps of man. It's like a dance or a tennis match where you're getting lobbed the ball and you get to hit it back. Sometimes you get to serve. When you innovate something, when you operate from a vision, when you pray, you're actually lobbing the ball across the net, and then it will get hit back in accordance with, you're the one who starts. So it's not like life is imposed on us. Yes, God directs the footsteps of man, but yes, we're here to co-create. Was that always true? Not like this. Yes, in a way, not like it is now. Now it's time to break through the shell. That's why we're being given extraordinary powers, extraordinary abilities, and an extraordinary potential for a different kind of relationship with God. Okay? And how does that happen? And here we'll lead into the meditation. Like I said, I'm going to turn off my camera when I start, but I'll set it up just a little bit. What is the access to true influence, to true leadership? I know that some people are allergic to that word, so I don't use it in titles much. I love the word though. Leadership starts with being who you really are. It starts with leading yourself. It starts with knowing who you are, with knowing what you want. Because what you truly want at your core is the most telling thing, the biggest pointer to who and what you are and what you're here for. Your core desires, like a world of love, or a world of fairness, or a world of, personal empowerment, or a world of health or wealth. Those desires are not corrupt unless it's just for you and everybody else can go, jump off a cliff. But when you want a world like that, that's a desire that's coming from your soul, and without a question in the universe. That's part of the reason why your soul is here. So honor those desires. Know that you have influence. What does that mean, that you have influence? When it comes to this kind of a spiritual war, really when it comes to everything, but so much more so in this focal point of all of creation where we are standing right now, you have the power to go vertical. And that's what the meditation is basically going to be about. You have the power to lead by connecting with your deeper core, your soul core, and connecting with God and connecting with the vision. So it's like a triangle. Connect with you, connect with God, and connect with the vision. And then navigating through circumstances, riding the waves, surfing what comes into the world or your world in accordance with your inner self, your inner truth, the divine truth, which we know from the blueprint for creation. The Torah is the owner's manual for humanity. It predicts these times. It tells us exactly what to do, especially the mystical Torah, Kabbalah, and Hasidus. It gives us a transmission, an ongoing transmission of the power to do it, a miraculous power to live our mission and to do it with incredible, miraculous success. Co-creativity, that's what we're up to now. So I'm going to turn off my camera in a moment, and I'm going to just lead you through a guided meditation. And like all the meditations that I do, it's also healing, and it's also prayer. I'm not going to make it long, a full-length matrix. I think I'm going to schedule a full-length matrix. For those of you familiar with that soul holographic prayer healing modality, very powerful. I think I'm going to be scheduling one for this coming Wednesday, but I'll let you know about that. Right now, we're just going to be looking to activate those connections, those three connections: the connection to yourself, the connection to the Creator, and the connection to the vision, to destiny. Before we do, I want to just remind you of what the famous sage from the 18th century, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Barditchev, very, very holy tzaddik, Kabbalist, soul, a master soul, a central soul. What he said to a heretic who told him, "I can't believe in your God that does, creates a world like this." And Reb Levi said to him, "The God you don't believe in, I don't believe in either." So whatever your concept is of God, if it has any resonance of negativity, allow for the possibility, if you choose, that there's another truth, that's not really the truth, that's perhaps been a label or a role that that was imposed on you by others, an image that was imposed on you by others, or an experience that you've had in your life, like a child whose parents love him and ground him in his room because he whatever did something that wasn't appropriate, and he decides his parents hate him and he hates his parents. It's an immature place to be. But there's so much more to God, and there's so much more to our relationship with God. And part of the transition between Gullus and Geula, exile and redemption, part of where we are right now, inside the Klipa, is to change that relationship. It's a big PowerPoint. We get to choose a different relationship. Remember, I said sometimes it's God lobbing the tennis ball, sometimes it's you. So you get to choose. You get, if you want to forgive the past, at least, on some basic level, and start asking for and stepping into a new relationship with God. Now, by the way, I have a lot of notes, a few pages of notes I started making on live streams that I'd like to do now that I'm back, ready to do that. So if you have if anything that I say, or any question that you have, if you'd like answers to that or more in depth on that, let me know, and we'll see if we can arrange that. So that would be in the comments section, whether you're listening on Facebook or YouTube or wherever. So for this meditation, I want to suggest, if you have the time, I don't think it's going to be long. I don't aim for something particularly long. I suggest that you close your eyes, clear your environment, and allow yourself to be with it just for that short period of time, to be with it as fully as possible. Okay, the more you're able to be present, the more, as I said, it's not just a meditation in terms of visualization, it's prayer and it's activation, and it's a transmission, it's a healing. What does it mean, a healing? We are in a collective space of prayer and visioning, and we're connected to that vision and to the source, to the Creator, and it's an opportunity for things to actually shift. I'd love your comments afterwards also on if anything shifted for you, if anything opened for you. You cannot listen now, then come back when the replay's up, and feel free to give it your full attention when you're ready. I'm going to turn off the camera, and just so I can focus and just be with me. So just get comfortable in your seat. Really comfortable. If you can let go of multitasking, that's always such a game changer. And allow your awareness to drop into your body. If you're energy sensitive, you might already be feeling energy shifting. If you're simply deeply listening, you might be feeling more awareness of what's happening in your body, more awareness of racing thoughts in your mind or emotions that you feel in your body. It's always really, really beneficial to feel your emotions in your body, to be aware. Instead of saying I feel anxious, to get technical about it. What is that sensation in my body? Put aside the story. Very powerful technique, very powerful for daily use. Where am I feeling that in my body? What does it feel like? Does it need more space, that energy that I feel? So you can do that now if you like, or you can simply let your awareness drop down, scanning your body, dropping into your feet, and then just be aware of all of your body, up and down. Try to see if you can feel yourself from the inside of your body rather than from the outside. In other words, if your awareness is in your feet, what does it feel like to be in your feet? Okay. And let's just do that for a few moments. Okay, so what we want to do is, in this meditation and this activation, is to make a shift, or to start making a shift, to anchor in a shift from the distraction, demoralization, crisis, chaos, confusion space, which puts us in survival mode, or like some describe it, reptilian brain, fight or flight, high beta. There are a lot of different ways to describe it. It's so easy to be there. Many, many forces, vast forces are conspiring to get you there. But you have a trump card, and what is that? That is that you can choose to be part of the spiritual battle by illuminating your consciousness through understanding what's happening through the Torah, which is the blueprint for creation, the user's owner's guide for human beings, especially in our times. So aligning your mind, using your mind to vision, to align with your personal perspective on the divine vision, a world of peace, of love, of collaboration, of abundance for all, of wellness, healing, health, of calm, confidence, trust, serenity, being home, forever home, co-creating, innovating, connecting to source, to creator, to God, to infinite divine consciousness in more and more loving, blessed, intimate ways. Just let that wash over you. Breathe into that. So whatever particularly appeals to you in a world which is heaven on earth, that will be part of your vision. And now I'm going to be speaking to the part that is distracted, constricted, confused, chaotic, demoralized, afraid, which we all have. And at the same time, to that deeper core of you that is rooted in bedrock. There's such a thing as bedrock, not just physical bedrock. There's the bedrock of the universe that, rather than being ever changing, swirling, vulnerable, fragile, obsolete, scary, that bedrock is solid, infinitely solid. It's serene. It's full of passion and power and love, divine love, and every kind of love. It's the source of your soul. And at that level of bedrock, it's the source of all of the souls. All of the souls are hewn from the bedrock. And that means that the soul is, your soul, is intrinsically connected to that bedrock. You can't sever yourself. It's your source. You cannot sever yourself from your source. It's not possible. But there are layers like the clouds, when you rise in the airplane and it's raining and thundering and lightning and the dark clouds. You have to get through those clouds to get to the place where the sun never stopped shining. In a similar way, we're going back into the bedrock to clear out our consciousness so we can align it, to transmute these pains and traumas in our heart so that we can align our heart to feed our bodies with high vibrational nutrition so that we can align our bodies to be to a more sensitive receptor, to be a focal point that can actually feel and draw from that bedrock, from that deepest layer, all the way out into the surface layer, where the world is being deliberately demoralized, distracted, and confused by weaponized fear, targeted weaponized fear. Okay, so as you connect to bedrock, you're connecting to your authentic self. And when you connect to your authentic self, you're automatically connecting to your purpose. And when you connect to your purpose, you're automatically a leader. You're connecting to your leadership. So here's what you want to know. If you think that you have to make something happen, that you have to create some result, know that you don't. And just let these words and their resonance wash over you. It's not for the left brain nearly as much as just to create alignment and activation. You don't have to create some result. You don't have to make something happen. You have to be a leader, a true leader, an authentic leader, a leader from bedrock. You have to be in the game. You have to know what you truly desire, your soul's desire, and you have to build with focus and consistency, imperfectly, knowing that every fall, as it says in the Torah, that it's tzaddik, a holy, righteous one, falls and gets up 7 times, meaning cycles of 7. The world is built on cycles of 7, meaning we continuously fall in order to rise deeper and stronger, in order to reactivate, to bring back online more parts of ourselves that were offline, that were hidden, that were co-opted by the shadow forces within our own beings, and maybe outside of us as well. Goes together. To the degree that you go vertical, that you connect to your source and yourself and your purpose, and the vision for creation, the redemption, that is the degree to which you are unstoppable. That is the degree to which your every action, your every word, and your every thought literally moves dimensions, literally creates an effect that is cosmic and that will change the political landscape too, that will change the medical landscape, will change every landscape. That's the influence you have when you become a soul-based leader in connection with the blueprint for creation. So knowing that you are a rock, you are a bedrock, you are here to be a lighthouse. You're here to drop deeper in and let go as you build and as you focus and as you co-create. So I'm going to ask you a question. What is the truest truth for you? What is the truest truth for you? What is the deepest, most authentic longing of your heart? If it seems like these questions will go by too fast, you can always write them down and come back to them. What is the truest truth for you? What is the deepest, most authentic longing of your heart? And last question, if you knew, or if you simply allowed for the possibility that everything that's happening in your life and everything that's happening in the world is on behalf of activating that truest truth and that deepest desire. What might shift in the way that you are viewing your life right now, your world right now? What might be up for you? What learning, what wisdom, what empowerment, what neurological shift, what new relationship with yourself, with God, with others, with reality? And here's where I want to say trust God, not governments. That's one of the shifts that's available for all of us. The truest truth about reality is that it's only God, plus a lot of clouds and, bright colors, trees, flowers, blue skies, lightning, thunder, darkness. It all comes together. But it's all God. And that's what the world is going to come to see. That's what the world needs to come to see and be with. And that doesn't just mean that it's all God outside of you. Sunshine, storm, and fury. It means that it's God inside of you, covered up by the clouds. Clouds are the ego, the identity, the distractions, the demoralizations, the confusions, the fears, the traumas, the stuck beliefs, the need to be right, the ego. But there is nothing wrong with you. You're simply out of harmony with your soul's focus. Your focus is divided when it needs to be one. Your focus is distracted when it needs to be one. That's where your power is. You are a microcosm of the world. You are the world. So here are some more questions for you. Is your world at peace? Is your world being governed wisely? These are deep questions. I'll repeat them again. Is your world at peace? For most of us, the answer is no a lot of the time. Sometimes yes. Is your world being governed wisely? We all have conflicting parts of ourselves. But for life to be truly visionary, transformational, and miraculous, and I mean that literally, in order to co-create with absolute divine power, and I mean that literally, I don't mean that we have absolute power, but we absolutely can have access to divine power. But our world needs to be governed wisely, meaning that there has to be one authority that mediates our conflicting selves, our conflicting desires, our needs, our fears. I want to be fit, but I feel like sleeping in. I want to be disciplined, but wow, that cake looks so good. I want to be in love, but whoa, he pissed me off. I don't want to be subject to other people's ego, those jerks. I hate judgment, those jerks. Is your world governed wisely? And what would it look like if it were governed wisely? What would be your core principle or your few core principles that all of your actions would be governed by? Imperfectly. The shadow comes up, that's when we get to work on it. When we work on it, we expand our wisdom and our power every single time. You're not sick, you're not broken. You're an unrefined diamond that gets to refine yourself. Is there a visionary, confident, relentless, authentic leadership inside your being? So back to the questions. Is there a visionary, confident, relentless, authentic leadership inside your being? A leader inside of you. What does that leader want for you? What does that leader want from you? Just breathe into that. We'll leave a little space here. The Torah tells us that there is a spark of Mashiach, of the Redeemer, the Messiah, that central soul that gets activated in the generation that is the generation of redemption. That's our generation, by the way. So there's a spark of the Redeemer in you. That's your ultimate leader. Is it activated? How much is it activated? How much of you is working from a vision? Where is the Mashiach, the Redeemer within you, who will see the global truth about you, your life, your world, who will know what the purpose is, know that it is coming from God, that it is God, that you're not broken, that you're a co-creator in the special forces here for these times, here for the world. You're not fatally flawed. You're on a mission. Where is the Mashiach within you who will see that, know that, who will govern, inspire, enlighten, teach, illuminate, and empower all the conflicting, lost, sad, traumatized parts of you? Those are there for a purpose too. I want you to know that each time you transmute a piece of your shadow self, your darkness, a trauma, meaning you find purpose in it, you bring God into it. You've shifted your life, you've shifted your consciousness, you've shifted your divine power, you've created a new portal for miracles, and you've shifted the world. The more darkness, the more light. That is the core principle, one of the core principles of the blueprint for creation. So what are the qualities of a great leader? Ask yourself that. Here are some. A great leader, the leader within you, operates from a vision, holds the mission in unity with all of its parts and all of its battles, holds the mission, never lets go of the vision of victory, is confident of that victory even when afraid, does what it takes to be confident, to hold that mission in unity, moving toward victory all the time with all of the conflicting parts, all of the distractions and demoralizations. That leader knows how to inspire, treats herself or himself as essential. The spark of Mashiach within you is essential. Your inner leader is essential. Your soul would not be in your body if it did not know that. The soul wants nothing more than to go back and merge with God, does not want to be. To be or not to be, the soul says not to be, not to be, not to be. Please, not to be, not to be. Let me be back with you, my source, my love, my love. And yet it comes down into the body, not once. Every instant as the world is being recreated, the soul keeps going back to its source, merging with God, and then being inspired with a divine passion to come down into your body. Why? 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 Because the spark of Mashiach in you is essential right now for the entire cosmos, the world, every person in the world, of course, every person in your life and your own life, every person in your world and the entire cosmos. The divine mission depends on you. Not a joke, it's real. So where is the Mashiach within you, the leader in you that will guide, inspire, empower, operate, holding the mission, operating from vision, holding the mission in unity with all of the parts, knowing how to transmute darkness to light when it comes, knowing that imperfection is the only way, knowing how to inspire, treating yourself as essential, which also means expanding your consciousness, connecting to the blueprint, treating your body and your heart and your mind with love and care, nurturing yourself, nurturing all parts of you with those things, and by the way, your relationships, with those things that nurture and build health. Because imagine if you were the one here to redeem the world, wouldn't you have to take care of yourself pretty well if the whole world depends on you? You are that leader. You came here to pull up some missing and lost pieces of you, and that is still happening now. But you must do whatever you do now, from your vision and from an ever more aligned core. If you feel like you're vibrating in struggle, in that demoralization, in that confusion, that distraction, it's because you won't let go. What does it mean to let go? You're not the energy making things happen. You're not the light that is creation of the future. You are the vessel. It's on you to focus, to desire, to take care, to focus, to nurture, to build, to transmute and transform ongoingly, imperfectly, moving toward more and more union between all parts of you and more union between the potential that your soul is here right now and coming back right now and right now and right now to co-create. That's making the vessels. Those things are on you. That's your part of the job. The light, the miraculous, infinite light that creates, that's right here. It's just waiting to take form in accordance with the vessels that you make. So the struggle is because you won't let go and let God. You can let go of all of it and rely on God, on Hashem, to do and to heal and to succeed. What is that like? A feeling of deep trust, deep relaxation inside. So see if you can feel that now. Whatever parts of you are not vibrating in that frequency, again, feel that inharmonious vibration in your body with love and compassion, knowing it's part of your mission. It's not personal, it's given to you. And just see what it feels like. Send it some love. Love warms it up, like melts it, like ice melts in a warm pool of water. Or if it's more intense than that, just ask it if it wants some more space. See how big you can expand that energy in your body. And as you're doing that, allowing for a feeling of deep trust and relaxation. Feel that now. Allow for that now. So Kabbalah tells us the following. Stay in the meditation, stay in the matrix. The Torah tells us, Gol Rishon, Hu Gol Acharon, meaning that the first Redeemer in the story of the blueprint is also the final Redeemer. You have a spark of Mashiach in you. You also have a spark of Moshe in you. Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses the teacher, Moses the receiver and the transmitter of the Torah. You have your own piece of the Torah that is on you to learn and to integrate till it's in your blood and bones, in your cells. And that will be your teaching. Moshe was called Ish HaElokim. Ish means a person, a man. Elokim means God, creator, God the creator specifically. Moshe's higher faculties were divine, and his body and personality was human, although a very elevated human, as evidenced by some of the supernatural things that Moshe created and experienced. Nevertheless, his body was physical, and his soul was completely divine and so completely connected to the divine that he was a clear channel, nothing of his own. That's the spark that you have in you of the first Redeemer. Utter combination of what's called in Kabbalah bittul and yesh, total self-nullification, receptivity to what's higher, and a personality, an identity, even an enlightened ego to go with it. Power, strength, confidence on the human scale. That's what's up for you. That's what a leader needs to activate, both of those parts. The world will throw so many distractions at you now, on purpose. But on the deeper level, on the spiritual war level, it's just designed to trigger those things of you that need to be expanded, elevated, warmed, activated, harmonized right now. So again, what is your truest truth? What do you most deeply desire? And what might be the reason why you're here based on that truth and desire? We're almost done. Just going to leave a few moments for you to open more to those answers. And I want to give you a hint that it will not come from your left brain. The deeper answers will come from a really quick, subtle place inside of you. You might get an image, you might get a word. So I'll ask you again, out of your left brain, core of your soul, speak to me. What is your deepest truth, your truest truth? What do you most authentically desire? Not a don't want, but a true passionate desire. Oh, if everything that's in my way could just be out of my way, then what? Then what? What would it be like? What would I do? What would I be? How would I be? What would I give to the world? And that will lead to the answer for why are you here? Hashem, God is saying to you, right now, right now, right now. And your soul hears it. I want your consciousness to allow for it, to let it in. Your mind and heart. Hashem is saying, let me in. Let me in to all of your body parts, including the ones that hurt. Let me into your mind, including the parts that are distracted and demoralized and confused and afraid. Let me into your troubles and woes. Let me into your vision and to your inspired strategy to make it real. Let me into your darkness and let me into your light, your desires. I am the core of you. Just make the vessel to let me in and express myself, yourself, ourself through you, for you, as you, with you. Just breathe that in. And what does that feel like? And now, last questions. What if you assumed, just allow for, that everything that happens to you is directly from Source, directly from the God that none of us understand, who loves you infinitely, who needs you, who is your partner in co-creation, who your soul is here to connect with and to partner with and to assist. That is the only reason your soul is agreeing to be in your body. Help your soul. So what if you assume that everything is happening for a divine reason and with a gift that you can unwrap as you go deeper? And if you assume that, what might change for you in the way you take care of yourself? The information you feed your mind, the thoughts that you allow yourself to entertain, the focus that you choose. Whether you react to your emotions or whether you respond based on a vision. What would change in your relationships? What lost or sad, unfulfilled dream? Purpose-based dream? Desire-based dream? And by the way, wealth can be very purpose-based if through wealth you do good in the world. Just for an example, what would open up, what would shift? So we're going to conclude the meditation in a moment, just leaving a few seconds of space for you just to be with whatever's coming up for you. I'm asking Hashem to be literally with us in a revealed and harmonious, protective, blessed way, completely safe, making it completely safe to do this work in these transitional times. Asking you, Hashem, to help us to not be demoralized, to turn that demoralization into wisdom, to not be distracted, to allow the distractions to trigger us to go deeper into our vision and to bring you in, to let go and let God, to focus more passionately and profoundly. This cannot come from a should. It must come from a true desire. Your true desires are your true leadership. Hashem helping us asking you to help us, please, to forgive the past, to forgive ourselves, to forgive the people in our lives, this life and past lives, even to forgive what's our relationship with you, to let go of hanging on to the trauma and the stories at least enough, even if we still have things we got to talk about, we got to work out, things that need to change, but allowing ourselves to initiate that change, to lob that new ball from a new place, from a place of vision, which requires forgiveness of the traumas of the past and even the source. You cannot move forward from the future if you cannot forgive the past enough to create some freedom, to live from a vision. If your vision includes a loving relationship with God, make space for it. Doesn't mean there's nothing to talk about. If someone betrayed you in your life and your vision includes a loving relationship with that person, what needs to change in you? Boundaries? Blind spots? Ego? Limiting beliefs? Fear? Needing to know? Needing to be certain? Needing to be safe? What needs to change in you? And just forgive enough to allow for that freedom. You're making the vessels for your soul's vision. And that soul's vision is co-creative. And co-creation means miracles, literally. Miracles of healing, emotionally, physically, financially, socially, globally, cosmically. Into a divine world, heaven and earth. All right, so those of you who hung with me this entire time, we're at an hour, we're more than an hour. I'm turning on my camera again for just a moment, just to say thank you for being here. And I would love, and it's important to me and to you, if you would like to be part of this collective, the Gate of Unity Collective, you can participate already in co-creation by liking, sharing, and most importantly, writing, posting your questions and your comments. What opened for you in that meditation? Or what came up as a blockage that even if it didn't open? What of the things that I discussed today and in previous lives, or that I didn't discuss, do you want to understand more about? What are the challenges that you need help with, that you need support for? So I'd like you very much to share those things, the insights that you gleaned from today. What is happening in your world? What questions do you have? What answers do you need? What solutions do you need? What kind of support or resources do you need? And if you have support or resources to offer for others in our collection, feel free to do that as well. In our collection, in our collective. Okay, last but not least, I want to let you know that we have another, the second, if you were at the Shine Your Soul Light and Lead 5-day event. 5 days for the core teachings, and the schedule should be out within the next couple of days. So if that's something you want to be part of and you haven't yet joined the Gate of Unity Soul Influencer group, Google that and join that. And then you'll get all the notifications and you get the workbook and you'll get everything that you need to be part of that event. There will be replays throughout the event. So even if you can't join live, and I know right now you don't know the schedule, so how would you know? But anyway, I hope to see you there. Last but not least, if this matters to you, please share it with the people who matter in your life. And that's how we start to create some real leadership, some real influence. One spark, like fire, and this again is also not an accident. When you light a fire you light a candle with another candle, it doesn't dim the first candle. It actually, the fire flares up with more brightness. That's our passion when we share our light with others, and then we light another candle and another candle and another candle, and each of those candles lights another candle and another candle and another candle. And that way we increase the light in the world exponentially, quickly, and not only outside, but again, it flares up that passion within our own hearts, minds, and souls and bodies. Living with passion is phenomenal. Heals your body, heals your heart. That's what we go for here. Okay, passion, purpose, and divine power. See you next time. Lots of love, and I want to hear from you. Let me know this is making a difference, okay?